Hello, welcome back to the Substitute Podcast. This is part number 2 of the trust grading special with Karim and Cam, who are the founders and run trust grading. If you haven't listened to part 1, I would recommend that you do so because this will lead directly on from there. And yeah, basically that's it. So, all normal things like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and stuff. All the links of everyone will be in the link below, in the description below. Sorry, and then yeah, I hope you enjoy. And yeah, I'm still ill, so I recorded this literally immediately after I recorded the first part. So I still have COVID, which is why I sound terrible. But when we recorded, I didn't, so that's why it sounds different. Anyway, I won't bore you anymore. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best option ever. I mean, I'm gonna make you money because if they come back as good grades, you'll be laughing.
Yeah.
True.
So
E.g. Card
trust gra-
Bazaar's Starlight PSA 10.
so
That
trust
was
grading,
mad.
right? We got to talk about it because you're both here. That was why you were both here, but we have been talking for
Wow.
an hour and 20 minutes.
Has it been that long? Jeez.
Yeah, that's just the time I've been recording. It's actually been like 2 hours.
Jesus.
Time flies when you're amongst friends, right?
And I've got work tomorrow, but it doesn't matter.
Really? Yeah, same. But I work from home Mondays.
I'm working a 9.5 hour shift, but it's not important.
Disgusting. Oh my goodness.
I start at 11 though, so it's not so bad. But trust grading. When did you start again? Like
I can't tell you the
four-
exact date. I can check if I check when we were incorporated,
I
but
feel like
the
it was like
idea.
Feb, right?
No, so technically we started. Technically speaking, the last week of March, like the idea came into fruition or fruition. I always forget how you say that word. But so basically, what happened is, so for those of you who are listening, I subbed my cards. I'm not going to name the
All
company,
three of you.
okay? But so
All three
oh,
of you who are listening.
you never know. You never know. You know, in 10 years' time, this might be your most listened to podcast. So I've got to save myself. So no lawsuits. I'm not going to say the company, but I graded my cards with a company which everyone recommended, a lot of YouTubers recommended, and literally every single person in the Discord that I'm in, which is like the Goon Discord, which includes Mark, the host, and my co-founder of Trust Grading, and my friend in the chat right now, Cameron. Yeah, we all
Hey.
sub to this company. I'm not going to say the name. And the experience I had from the beginning of when I subbed all the way until now has been, for lack of a better word, subpar. Okay. From the day I sent the cards, which are my childhood cards, which mean a shit ton to me, yeah, was sent to them. Didn't get any email response saying that the cards arrived. Bear in mind, I know that this was during a boom and I know that they were getting an influx of a lot of cards. But at the same time, this is my opinion, each to their own. If you can't handle submissions or you can't handle receiving things, that's when you should temporarily put things on hold. Which fair play to PSA and other companies, like they put a hold. I know that they let it go a bit too far, but still they put a hold when they realized. This company in particular probably would never have put on a hold on if it wasn't for the fact that PSA literally closed down, right? Temporarily. So I sent my cards to them, didn't get a confirmation email. I had to chase to get the confirmation to make sure they arrived because they didn't send them anything. I literally was told that pre-grades will take about a week, which is fine. It took so long that I missed the September submission. It actually became October submission. Okay. And since then, the communication with them has been up and down. And obviously, because that company is now technically dissolved or closed down and is basically there's one person running it pretty much, it's just been start to finish has been really bad. The actual returns part was probably the best part because when I did get the returns, they confirmed my address and I received it very well packaged and everything like that. So to be fair to them, that was good. But still, I've had issues with one of my stabs that arrived back damaged. One of the cards inside, which is my unknown J, if you guys remember, that literally had flipping box cutter marks all the way down the sides of it, which it was predicted pre-graded a 9/10, and I pre-graded myself as a 10. Came back as a PSA 6. Okay. So I emailed them about that issue. They never replied to any of my emails, right? So after that, I literally said, I was like, when we were having all these issues, I literally said, I want to start doing it. And I remember all of you guys in Discord, including Mark and Cameron, were like, you should do it, Kareem. We trust you, do it. So Cameron hit me up and was like to me, if you're serious about it, I would love to, join you on this venture. And I was like, why would I not want to do it with someone I trust as much as Cam? Because I know that Cam would also like be respectful and he would be on the same page as me, because we're not doing trust grading for the sole purpose of I want to become rich and famous. I want to become the new, Bill Gates. No, we're doing trust grading because we want people to be able to submit the cards that they love, including our own, because me and Cam have subbed through our own service ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
To receive as much of a perfect service as we possibly can. That's where the name trust grading come from. We want you to trust us with your cards, your valued possessions. Unfortunately, trust grading, fun fact, the reason why it's not called trust grading on the company's house is because you're not allowed to have the word trust in your name, because that's reserved only for charities. Fun fact. So we're called TCG grading technically, but for all extensive purposes, we're called trust grading. So yeah, so that's why we started trust grading, because we wanted to provide that communication and that customer service. That ultimately, that's the only reason you're using a middleman, is to get easy service and overall a cheaper cost than if you did it yourself. Because although like people would assume, who are listening, or people that have graded with other middlemen or ourselves, you think, okay, well, why is it more price to grade it with you than if I did it directly with PSA? Technically speaking, on the actual service directly, yes, it is more with us. But if you factor in all the other costs, which obviously you don't know about because you've never done it before, and even when I started doing it, I was learning about some hidden costs as well. Sending to America alone makes your sub more expensive than if you sub with us, because if you want to send your cards to via FedEx, for example, it normally on average costs about 40-50 pounds, if not more. So that's already one fact cost. If the value of the cards are over a certain amount, you incur a brokerage cost from PSA when they arrive in America, which is another cost, which is approximately about 45 pounds. On top of that, you need to get a membership with PSA, which that alone costs another about 110 pounds. On top of all of that, when they come back from the America to the UK, you then have to pay a custom release fee because they use FedEx, and you have to pay a custom release fee, which is another money on top. So all of that money combined, or you can sub it to us, and we're making approximately a markup of about £2 per card, which, if you work out in the grand scheme of things, isn't much money. £2 to not have to pay for postage and all of the hassle of sending it abroad. But why we did it isn't because there is other competitors that do it. The reason why we wanted to do it is I wanted to do it so well that people know at every stage and every part of the process. If you message me or you reach out to me or Cam about what's going on with my submissions, what's going on with this, when is the new deadline, whatever question you have, you should be able to get a response normally within the same day, but on average, let's say within 5 hours, but normally maximum within 24 hours. Because at the end of the day, these are your cards, and like I said, this is a service-based thing, so you should be, getting the customer service you deserve. Quite long story short, even though that was quite long.
It's interesting to me that nobody's registered the name TCG grading before you.
Right? I was shocked about that too.
Exactly.
It seems like somebody would have done it just because.
So fun fact. So the reason why I chose trust TCG grading, and I discussed it with Cam, and Cam was like, "Yeah, good idea." Is we wanted to do another thing, which was like we were gonna have our names combined, like CK grading or KC grading or something like that. But then I was like, I want to get it as close to trust as I can. So I tried every variation of trust grading, like even putting it as one word. So trust grading is one word. Wouldn't allow the word trust, even close. Like I couldn't even use TRUS because it was like it's too close to
You
trust.
couldn't have trust.
Trust, exactly. I was going to say trust us, trust us grading or something like that. It's like, no, you can't do
Trust
that.
me, daddy grading.
Honestly, if I would love to do that,
Me,
it's not
daddy.
professional, but that would be hilarious. But
Drake
yeah, so
would submit.
that's yeah,
Just get
100%.
sponsored by Drake.
Please do, Drake. We just need your submission. We
Yeah,
can
if you
pay
don't
for that.
mind, bro.
Do you know what I mean? Do
Yeah,
what you
he's
did
got
with
some
Ninja,
mad
playing
cards.
Fortnite with him. Play with us Pokemon, please. Thank you. Um,
Yeah,
But yeah, so so when I typed in TCG grading, I was like, oh, it's gonna tell me, it's been used. It was like available. I was like, what? So I sent it to Cam. I was like, bruv, this has got to be our name. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And then that's where we got the name. Plus, as well, like if you search our company house, because obviously all of our company registration numbers are on our website and stuff. If anyone ever searches it, trust grading to the name TCG grading isn't far off. But like we thought, I was like to Cam, and Cam was like to me, he agrees as well. Like trust grading, but then on paper we're called KC grading. It seems a bit doesn't correlate. Do you know what I'm saying?
it's a bit too far away from each other.
But
Yeah.
with that being said, to be fair, Google is actually called Alphabet as the company name, so that is a bit off.
Unfortunately, we're not quite as big as Google.
Hey, one day,
Yeah.
one day.
One day. Can't pull it off just yet. But yeah, it was. I was quite shocked as well that that name was available. All things considering.
Yeah, so
It's
I was like, I'm taking that, and Cam was like, hell yes, take that. And that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
it's interesting to hear about the process because obviously, like, I would say probably like 90% of people have never submitted directly to PSA or really any grading company for that matter because they're, whether you want to submit to PSA or Beckett or CGC or SGC or you want comics graded or whatever, there's like a middleman service for everything now.
Yeah, anything not in this country, like obviously,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go to a UK-based company, I'll be genuine, there's probably no point of a middleman, as far
Mm.
as I'm aware. So
Unless
I get
it's
that.
one of the ones that offers like massive bulk discounts.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're getting like there has to be a reason to use a middleman service. In our opinion, for us to submit, if we like to submit to PSA and stuff like that, we're offering you two things: convenience and overall, you will definitely get a value of submitting with us than if you did it alone. Especially if you're sending, less than 20 cards, I would say, maybe even 30 cards. Less than that, you're definitely getting a saving with us. And obviously, to be completely transparent, in the future, if we're able to become a partner with PSA, for sure, that's going to be reflected in our prices too. That's the end goal here. But without getting into too many technical details, becoming a partner with PSA is very difficult. And what there used to be two partners with PSA in the UK. One was Ludkins, one was another one which I'm not going to mention. And the other one that I'm not going to mention is no longer a partner with PSA. So there's literally just one partner at the moment, which is Ludkins. And no disrespect to Ludkins, I don't know much about like submitting with them as a middleman, but have heard mixed reviews, so I can't really.
Didn't
I never
they
use them,
just
so I can't judge them.
become?
They've just become PSA UK.
They've
Yeah.
just become PSA UK as well.
Yeah, they just become
So
PSA
there's
UK.
none.
So there is literally none technically partners like middleman, technically
Yeah, they are.
speaking. But
They are.
but
Yeah, they were essentially just a PSA middleman, but PSA run it.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
the
if you look
PSA
at
own middleman, which is a bit odd.
which is odd, and also if you for those of you who are like, okay, well, why would I use, for example, trust grading or any of the competitors that are also doing middleman for PSA? Well, there's two arguments for that. The first argument is you're not submitting technically directly to PSA. You're submitting through PSA's hub here, so it still has to be sent somewhere in the UK, and then from the UK is going to America. Okay, so it's not a direct. It's still technically a middleman. Yeah, it's more an official middleman, but it's still a middleman. Also, on top of that, if you are, I'm not gonna like I said, I don't want to be disrespectful to any other competitor or any other company, but if you want to get the service level in terms of the communication like you would get with me and Cam at Trust Grading, I can say that with my whole chest that you will not receive it anywhere else. Not just PSA, but any other company. Purely because that's what we literally started the company for. That's our objective. Pretty much every other middleman service, I'm say again with my chest, that their goal is to make money. Okay, that's not our goal. Is obviously we need money to survive. We're a business at the end of the day. But Cam can vouch me on this. We've said from the beginning, if we're able to make it as cheap as possible and still make like a reasonable amount of money, so that like it's worth our time too, but still like within a certain parameter, we want to make it as cheap as possible. And a prime example of that is like when we did the economy subs, when me and Cam did our first ever submission in April of 2022. That was a time where everyone of our competitors and every other middleman service was doing £55 a card. And we came in and I was like, Cam, I don't know why it's that expensive. I think we can make it cheaper. And this is, bear in mind, this is a startup company. Me and Cam have no money, no profit. All the money that's going into trust is technically a loss at the beginning. It's a sunk cost, which is fine, right? We came in and said we wanted to do it £50 because our goal wasn't profit. Our goal was to show people that what we can do and provide that service. And then every other competitor can matched us with the £50. And if we can do that going forward, like if we become an agent with PSA, like a PSA partner, shall I say, and then we're able to offer, instead of £50 for economy, like everyone else, every other middleman company does here, we can offer it for like 44, £42, £40. We will be doing that, trust me, because that's not our goal. That's our goal isn't to like, you know, I don't know what the
The
correct
goal
term is.
isn't profit
Yeah,
margin maximizing. The goal
exactly.
is
Not
to provide a seamless service as cheap as possible for both sides of the kind of business scale, for the customer and for us.
100%. So, that's exactly what he said. So it's about like obviously we do want to make, like I said, we have to make money because we're a business at the end of the day. If we don't make profit, you can't sustain a loss for forever. But our goal isn't, like I said, profit maximization. We're not like, one of these big companies like, for example, Amazon. We're not here to just sell billions and billions of our service and make billions, and then me and Cam will be on a yacht laughing. That's not what our end goal is. So that's what we're hoping to achieve.
Oh,
in
it's
the long
actually a
run.
private plane laughing rather than a yacht.
Yeah, exactly. Private plane. He's right.
Just
We'll be wiping our tears in first edition Shadowless Charizards.
the amount of base set cards they go through everything is just mad.
I think this is the thing, right? It's like a lot of companies started obviously when Pokemon boomed,
Mm.
and a lot of companies had an emphasis of just like, try and get rich while you can, and then whatever happens. I think
We're here for the long haul.
having a we'll get it right and we'll do it properly, and then eventually the money will follow, is the best approach to basically any business that is
Yeah,
small
I
scale
100% agree.
at start.
because we're confident that we're going to be here for the long haul. And we want to be here for the long haul. It means that we don't need to make money quick and get in and get out quick sort of thing. It's not.
100%. This isn't a
It's not
smash and grab,
smashing
as
it.
they call it. Exactly.
Exactly. Literally, it's not about that. I don't think it will ever be about that for trust grading. It's definitely not in Karim's personality to do that at all.
And
Another thing,
that's why
Nor
things
is
are
it
going.
mine.
it's not in Karim's, it's definitely in mine.
Yeah.
Another thing that I like is that obviously the communication is like unreal, because it's partly because you kind of work on American time, Karim.
It is true.
Yeah,
That
your
is true.
sleep schedule is
So-
mad.
My sleep schedule is
you get
trash.
live updates from the PSA
Pretty-
website. But one thing I like is like a lot of companies, especially really big companies, and I know they don't have the time or the resources to do this, but like when I submitted my Henri card to I emailed them, was like, I've submitted it, everything, whatever. And then you asked me about the card, which a lot of grading companies and other companies in general wouldn't have the like, kind of like the, what's the word, like the humility to reach out to a client and ask them questions.
And I get that, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It is a bit tough for me to ask you guys, like for example, you submitting, to ask you, is this the correct card that I'm putting it, like inputting on the PSA database. But for me, like I said, it's about the whole point I did this was about the communication. So I want it to be a free flow between us. Like I'd rather be 100% sure than have to, send the card, it either get rejected because I put it down as the wrong one hypothetically, or it get mislabeled, and then I bring it back, give it to you, the submitter, and then you're like, that's the wrong label. Obviously, if that was the case, because it can happen, everyone is human errors happen. Obviously, then we at Trust Grading would swallow that cost and get it relabeled for you and say, sorry for that. But that's what I don't want. I want the communication to be so good that, touch wood, fingers crossed, never happens. We haven't had a mistake so far. God willing, we never do. But at the same time, like, although, like you said, there's other big companies that they can't, afford to take time out their day to do that. If we ever get so big where I can't physically reply to all the communication that I have, then I'm sure Cam will agree with this. This is when we would have to get someone to come in and do that, whether that be, one of our friends, whether that be someone outside we interview and hire. But I could never accept where you're sending an email to me about your submission and you're getting a response 7 to 10 days later. That I do not accept, because for me that is
It's just
like,
not on.
it's just not on, because, as well, as someone who's on the PSA website all the time, PSA updates his website more than once a day. It's on average once a day for most submissions, but for faster submissions like regular, for example, sometimes it can go 2 to 3 stages in a day. On average, especially when it's towards the end after assembly, it can go from assembly to QA2, which is stage 7, literally in hours. So 7 to 10 business days for me to reply to an email, hypothetically, your card might already be back in the country before I reply to your email. So for me, that's not on. Especially as a person who, like I said, a lot of my cards that I've graded are so valuable to me because of the nostalgia, like we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, about memories behind them. I want to know when my cards is. Obviously, you know, there's a limit to what I can do because I'm only me and Cam are only two people. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if we can't physically handle it, then I would definitely, and I'm sure Cam would agree with this. We would then halt submissions and say we've taken on enough for this month. We'd have to come back next month, or I would
Yeah.
do like an extra month submission for the extra cards that people are sending in. Because for me, the service comes first above all else. If I can't keep up with something, something else has to suffer, but the service can't suffer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
total sense.
But yeah, I mean, we've been very blessed. Everyone that's submitted with us has been, honestly, I've genuinely touched wood. We have not had a single person who's been less than 10 out of 10 in terms of their niceness, with the way that they communicate with me, with their asking questions, with everything. Like touch wood has been going. I can't complain. There's no complaints from me. And honestly, the main reason I wanted to start this, apart from the fact that I wanted to do this worldwide, like for everyone, not worldwide, but like anyone in Europe, pretty much. Because if you're in America, you probably can do it yourself directly. But anyone in Europe, like I wanted it to be like this. The main goal was I have quite a lot of close friends of mine. Most of the Pokemon community, I would say, are my friends, like in the UK. Big majority of them I know, and I want them to have a good service. So that's the main reason why I started Trust. For my own cards, for Cam's cards, for your cards, Mark, for everyone in our Discord, for everyone listening to it, for anyone in the UK, I want you to be able to submit your cards with us, know what's going on, and be happy and comfortable. You shouldn't have to chase me. I'm a business. We're a business, Trust Grading. If anyone should be chasing anyone, it should be us, not you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't have any cards back because I only submitted them last week, and that would be genuinely unreal if I submitted on value and it took like a week. But yeah, like I think the average response time was like half an hour at most.
I'm glad you're happy with the response time, bro. I appreciate that very much.
Honestly, I took longer to respond than you did.
And that's fine, but that's what I'm saying about the chasing. I should be chasing you, not you chasing me. You shouldn't have to send a follow-up email, gentle reminder of my previous. No, it shouldn't be that way. That's my opinion. But as someone who does,
I agree.
but to be fair, I think as well what makes it good about like me and Cam starting Trust Grading is that I think we've kind of covered both aspects. So for those of you who don't know, like my main day job is I basically do what I'm doing with Trust, but for other things, in the sense of I'm providing, you know, a service, like a sort of like best way I can describe it because it doesn't have a direct name. It's kind of like I provide concierge services. So like when people need things, I try and help them get it. Right. That's my whole day job, and I think I'm so well suited for it. That's Trust Grading is very similar to that.
You're
And
so well suited for that job.
thank you very much, bro.
It's one of those jobs that sounds like, imagine if a drug dealer didn't want to tell you their real job.
I wish.
Like you know when you watch those movies and it's like, oh, this is Pablo. He acquires things for people.
He's an acquirer.
I 100% get that, and that's what I'm telling you. It's so hard for me to explain what I do because it doesn't sound like a real thing. But
the thing is, like,
yeah,
I know what you do, and I can't explain what you do.
that's what I'm saying. The best way I can explain it is I do what Uber Eats and Deliveroo did. So before they became popular, the whole point of why a delivery company started doing Uber Eats and Deliveroo was because there's certain restaurants and takeaways and stuff that don't do takeaway. They don't have the power, manpower, and the appetite for doing it because you need bikes and insurance and all that jazz. So the whole point of like Uber Eats and Deliveroo, why they took over, is because they were like, we'll provide that service for you. So in a way, Uber Eats and Deliveroo are middlemen. Same way we are middlemen. They're middlemen. That you pay Deliveroo. Deliveroo pays the restaurant. They collect the food and then they bring it to you.
You're basically an international fixer.
I'm an international fixer, but for things that are legal. For everyone listening, illegal. I only deal with legal stuff.
I know if you go to a country, you still have a fixer who like makes sure everything works for you.
Exactly. And in terms of like we were talking about like earlier about like wealth and stuff, about that guy who has that crazy collection. I can't remember his name. The one you said about like he quit his job because he's got such a big collection.
Oh yeah, Cyrus.
The Cyrus, yeah.
Soccer breakers, yeah.
But yeah, so what I'm saying like is like it's also relative because like for example, right, some people can't afford to pay for the convenience of delivering Uber Eats. No judgment to them, but everyone has their income level that they can afford. But then the next level above that is some people have private drivers to go collect their food, right? Because they can afford that. No judgment to them. They can. The next step above that, some people can afford to have a private chef who makes the food for them. Literally in their kitchen. And that's what I'm saying. So yeah, literally the dream. So that's what I'm saying. So like being like a middleman or providing a service is something that's existed, for years, decades, centuries. So it's just about like what you deem is worth the level for you. So yeah, my job. I'm very lucky that my job that there is people that are willing to pay for me to do what I like to provide them and help them get the services they want. Because for me, honestly, genuinely, the most rewarding thing in the world is when someone wants something, especially a friend of mine. Like when you wanted that Hisuian Growlithe plushie from Japan. Yeah. As soon as you
Yeah,
said you wanted it, I was like, I got it for you. Don't worry about it. I'm on the case. And
that's
that for me is
that's
it.
not an
That
exaggeration either. It's literally, it was like, "Do you want this?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay." And it was, I think it was what, like a week it took to get from Japan.
Yeah, I think it was just a week. That was
So
before all the.
quick.
Yeah, it was before all the like. Unfortunately, like I'm not going to blame anyone, but that was before obviously like the war that happened in Ukraine or still happening in Ukraine. So
Mm.
before that, literally, I would get stuff from Japan. It would take 3 to 5 days to arrive. It was so dope. But obviously now it takes longer. And
Yeah.
obviously, I'm not complaining. It's a very first world problem. I'm just saying. But yeah, it was like a week. I remember.
Well, I remember when I ordered my Shiny Star V boxes from Japan. They literally were shipped and they were there the next day. Like it's
Was that
crazy.
Amazon you bought from?
No, I bought them from I did it through a proxy service.
Oh no, fair enough, fair enough.
I can't remember.
No,
I can't remember. I got
because
from.
Amazon Japan is ridiculously quick. Like I ordered a Dark Phantasma box from there, and it literally came. It was released on a Friday. I got it on the Monday, which is insanely quick
Also,
in my
Japanese
opinion.
packaging is top tier.
Right?
So
It's
good. It's so
so
good.
freaking good.
Maybe slightly too much plastic, but still.
But to be fair to Japan, I'm not saying plastic is good in any shape or form. Especially Mark, you are a scientist, so you can tell me how bad it is. The only
I'm plastic free.
I respect that. So, but the one thing I will say, at least in Japan,
Impressive.
which is much better than here, is that they heavily recycle their plastics in Japan. I don't know if you've seen this. I was watching a
Yeah,
documentary about this. Like, I can't remember the exact number, so I don't want to exaggerate. But it's somewhere in the region of like almost 50 to 60% of all their plastics get recycled, like the food packaging and all that stuff. Whereas I know that that's not perfect for the environment, but it's better than majority of it going in the landfill. So at least they're doing that in that regards.
yeah. No,
Better than what we do here.
I committed for I committed to plastic free packaging on all my orders.
Respect.
With a few with obviously the exceptions like top loaders, like sleeves for cards and stuff. You can't avoid that, but like I don't use bubble mailers anymore. I
Uh,
don't use envelopes, so I just use like cardboard boxes, and it's basically it's perforated paper that when you like pull it, it like puffs out. It's pretty cool.
It's quite
that's
cool.
brilliant.
Um,
Uh,
Paper tape as well. People forget that tape is bad for the
Mm.
environment. Paper tape
so
is not great, but it's better.
this is exactly what I was going to say. So like paper tape, I've been experimenting it recently because I want to use it as well for trust. Because I really like paper tape. I think it's amazing, especially the one that Amazon has. I've been trying to look for a similar one of that because it's got like string in it, so it's really, really
Yeah,
tough and
I
durable. But if you cut it, it rips so easy, which is amazing. But the only issue I have is that, like, for example, for our labels, it's a bit difficult for us not to use clear tape to stick down the labels. I know that you can get like thermal printers and stuff like that, but the problem with thermal printers is that I've tested it. If it's raining and the label gets wet, the label gets smudged,
yeah.
and
I know
that
I
for me is a big risk if I'm
It's really
sending someone.
risky.
Do you know what I mean? If I'm sending someone, for example, which I literally have, if I'm sending someone like someone submitted a Gold Star Charizard with us and it got a PSA 9, so it literally got an upcharge because it's so expensive of a card. I don't even know what the value of that. I think it's like almost 4 grand, right?
I
If I'm
think they
sending that,
think I think they were selling it for like 4.5.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, argument's sake, 4.5 grand, right?
Yeah.
So like it's money. Let's put it that way. Like if I lose that, that's a trust potentially could be going out of business. That's how much money that is. It's a lot of money. Yeah, so I can't put it on a thermal printer or like not covered in some kind of plastic wrap because I need to make sure that it doesn't get wet. And let's be real, Mark, you've received mail from me, and this is nothing expensive. I've sent you I sent him, for those listening, Hisuian Growlithe Reverse Hollow, a Japanese card that is literally worth 20p. Literally worth 20p. I put
Yeah,
it in. I put it in a sleeve and a top loader, and I put it in a hardback envelope, so I didn't use any plastic for that. And Draw Mail literally sliced it in half, and the card was missing.
yeah. I got an empty envelope in a plastic bag, being like, "Sorry, your parcel got damaged on delivery," and there was just nothing in it. It was very strange.
So imagine that for, God forbid, this kind of card. That's why we have to. I hate that I have to, but I have to use bubble wrap and I have to use clear tape. But if one day they invented some kind of plant-based, paper-based clear tape and bubble wrap, that'll be the next thing I use.
You can buy recyclable bubble wrap.
I've
Really?
seen that.
Where from?
I've
Amazon.
seen that. So I've
Oh,
seen that,
awesome.
and I tried some of it, and it's not even close to as protective as regular bubble wrap.
So
Oh, really?
I bought a full roll of it and used it. The problem is people don't know it's recyclable, so they just bin it.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
So if I ever send you anything in the post, so you know, Karim, because you got my submission, right?
Yep.
So I wrap it in this like paper stuff. As soon as you see that it's paper, you're like, okay, that's recyclable. You don't even question it.
Yeah, straight away. If you look behind me, I have a recycling bin. I always keep them out.
Yeah.
Because I actually try to recycle everything.
And it's like
With that
if
kind of stuff.
if I post you something in a cardboard box, you one know that box is recyclable, and two, the way I tape stuff because I use paper tape, you can really easily unseal it and reuse the box.
Literally, I've kept almost all your boxes for a reason. I actually submitting to PSA because in PSA when we submit the cards, we have to put it between cardboard like blocks to protect the cards. So I
Yeah.
literally cut up your boxes and then recycle it and send it to PSA.
Yeah.
I hope they recycle it too, but you know.
They honestly they must recycle, because if they didn't, they would be throwing so much away. It would actually be a problem.
There's no way they
The
don't
thing is,
recycle.
I'm not saying they don't recycle, but I'm thinking about it about like, okay, before they used to accept top loaders semi-rigids, but at the moment we have to send everything in a semi-rigid and a sleeve, and it comes back to us with no sleeve and no semi-rigid, and they don't give them back. So they
Yeah.
must have a literal factory full of random sleeves and semi-rigids. Talking about those sleeves, I would think I would literally die in paradise if I went there to get all those vintage and unique sleeves. But
Yeah.
they must have a literal warehouse of it.
So I've got a submission sitting next to me that I'm going to send to MGC because it's just not worth grading a PSA, right? Again,
Sports cards, yeah.
a couple of sports, and then there's just like some other random bits. But like, I just had a mini heart attack because I looked at one of the cards and it had a huge dent, and it was actually in the semi-rigid.
Oh,
But yeah, so like, do you know who has really good packaging? Black Label Grading do.
Okay, I'm glad you brought them up.
Because
the guy in Black Label Grading is a legend.
Because they've been on the podcast.
They're super nice people.
They've been on the podcast before. Well, I say they've been on the podcast before. I can't remember his wife's name. I'm really sorry, but she was ill. But yeah, they came on the podcast, and they were the ones that inspired me to do like plastic free, because their packaging is so good. Like, obviously, I don't. When I
Their packaging is really good.
They have like boxes that have like slab spaces.
So I reached out to them about this. So I can tell you everything about that because I literally put it up. I believe his name's John. I'm really bad with names.
It is John. Yeah.
John. Yeah. So John, I reached out to John. John, by the way, is an absolute legend. Talking about sleeves, he always hooks me up with really cool sleeves. But anyways, point of my story is I met John in real life, really nice guy. And when we started up Trust, I always wanted some advice about packaging because me and Cameron, like, we know a lot of stuff, but like packaging is not really my forte. Like, I know about hard packed envelopes, but stuff like slabs, I have to be even more protected because some of these slabs, like the Charizard, is worth a lot of money. So I reached out to a few people that I know that have businesses such as Black Label Grading, and when I tell you the information that John gave me was so chef's kiss, perfect. It was amazing. And he told me about those kits because I told him I want those exact boxes. I was like, I want the ones with the perforated hole in the middle that fits slabs perfectly. He gets the packaging company he custom made it with them to be like that. That's why they're so perfect, right? And hopefully in the future, Trust Grading, keeps doing as it's going and getting better and better each month. That's what I definitely want to switch to, because that will save on bubble wrap, which again is potentially not recyclable, or even if you get recyclable, can still be thrown away. I just want to make it as much paper/cardboard as possible.
The thing is it's things like that set a business apart, because like I would never have thought about custom making boxes to fit slabs.
It's genius. It really is genius.
It's one of those things where like it's so simple, but like I don't know how they came up with it. Do you ever get that? Do you ever get that where someone tells a joke and it's so simple but so funny, and you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Or someone has like a solve at work and it's just like the most painstakingly obvious fix, and you're just sitting there thinking, how bloody hell did I not see that? Like, how
I had that at work actually. Someone said the computer was broken and it turned out the keyboard just wasn't plugged in, so they couldn't log in.
That's
Which was
just the IT crowd. Is it plugged in if you try to turn it on and off again?
But it's just one of those things where like it's such a simple problem that you wouldn't even ever consider it being the problem.
No, exactly.
It's like, of course the keyboard is plugged in. Why would it not be plugged in?
Yeah, who unplugs the keyboard? Like, duh.
Yeah, but anyway, their packaging is incredible. The whole
Yeah, I had a submission come back from them the other day. It was
Black
really
Label Grading's
good.
entire company's great.
Oh yeah, their website's really clear.
So if I was to say our version, if I had to, like, I don't know what the word is, but like if I had to use an example of what me and Cam's trust grading want to be, it's the PSA equivalent of Black Label Grading, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they are grading goals.
They're
Yeah.
literally grading goals.
The
I
application's
haven't even,
great, website's great, packaging's fantastic.
if I ever was to submit with Beckett, like if I ever was to submit any cards not with PSA with Beckett, I wouldn't even look anywhere else. I'm telling you right now, anyone listening to this podcast, if you're not submitting to Black Label Grading for Beckett slabs, you are surely mistaken. You need just send even one card with them and test their service. From
Also,
email communication to posts to replies to service level to packaging, top tier. Nothing less than top tier.
this is also like this is the thing, right? Like I like being in the Pokemon space now because like back 2 years ago, it was kind of like the Wild West where like no one really knew what they were doing. Like now you have like your go-to for everything, and obviously people are going to have different opinions like about who to go to. Some people might go to other middlemen. Some people might go to, even if it's something as simple as like you have a favorite card shop. Like you say, for example, my local card shop is Trident Cards, and like I really like going there, and the guy who runs it's super nice. But like someone might have gone there and been like, oh, I don't really like this one, but I like there's one in the centre of Nottingham that is different, and they might like that, and that's totally fine. And just having the alternatives to basically just choose what you want is the ideal scenario.
Well, this is exactly what the basis of competition was, and why I'm not criticizing any of my competitors, because I think competition is a healthy thing overall, and it's better for. I'm also a consumer because, like I said, me and Cameron both PSA and through trust grading, and I've also submitted to my competitors before trust grading existed, and competition and like choice benefits the consumer so much. And a prime example of that is like when we came in the market and we put economy grading at £50, everyone else copied and did the same thing and made it £50. So literally because of the choices and competition, because we did it £5 cheaper, everyone else did it £5 cheaper. So it works out in the consumer's favor for competitors to exist, even though it might not seem that way. It's the same
Good
thing,
for the consumer.
and 100%. And a prime example of this, yeah, forget about like middlemaning. Prime example of this is Sony and Xbox, Microsoft with Xbox. They are literally at each other's throats all the time as competitors. That every time one of them does something that we're like, ooh, we don't like that as a consumer, because of the competitor is not doing that, it gets reverted. Like I don't know if you guys remember when the new Xbox was coming out and they were saying that like the CD like a one-time use thing, like you can't share it with friends. I don't know if you remember this. It was in
Yes,
their
I do
conference,
remember that.
and then Sony took the piss and were like in their conference, "Oh, do you know how we let our friends borrow our games? Here you go." And then they handed them the game, right? Because of that, Xbox, Microsoft literally reverted back and were like, "Nope, that doesn't work. Let's not do that." If competition didn't exist, they wouldn't have done that without a shadow of a doubt.
The craziest thing Xbox ever did was, do you remember when they were like, we're releasing a Kinect for the new generation of consoles, and everyone was like, no, so they just didn't bother.
Yeah,
There
they
you
were
go.
like, you have to have your Connect mic, use your Connect mic and camera, and everyone was just like, nah, mate.
Yeah, they like bundled
And they
it.
never did.
They bundled it with the Xbox, and then they were like, okay, everyone hates it, so we'll drop the price by like £25 and just not include it.
But that's exactly my point. Whereas if competition didn't exist, let's say Microsoft was the only gaming company in the world, whatever they did, you swallowed it and you said, "Okay, there's nothing else I can do. Fine, it is what it is." That's why competition is so good. And I don't want to go into the names, but I'm sure we can all agree that there's certain energy providers and utility providers that, because they're a literal monopoly, they're taking advantage of us. And there's not really much we can do about it because there's no competition.
I'll go there. Honestly, fuck Virgin Media. If you're
Sod shell.
if you are a student or have been a student in Nottingham, you'll know that they own probably about 95% of the internet. in student areas in Nottingham, and they can charge whatever they want. It is ridiculous.
But that's my point. Whereas if a competitor came in right now, let's call it Mark's Internet, yeah,
That's
and
gonna sell.
slashed the prices and did it half the
It's,
price, yeah, best believe Virgin would have to lower their prices. And everyone wins. It's not like, only one. No, everyone wins because competition is so good for a consumer, we don't even realize.
Let's be honest, we all need a billionaire to take the time to look at industries, set up companies that do prices so cheap that they just make a loss for long enough where the other companies have to drop their prices. And then as soon as they do, they're just like, all right, cool, I'll see you later. Dissolve the company, everyone moves back on the cheaper prices. And on the next sector.
I mean, you're telling me I work at Smith's, who literally killed Toys R Us.
They
To be
did.
fair,
They
I don't
did.
I don't want to be rude to Toys R Us because I love Toys R Us. I have so many memories of Toys R Us. But
Mm.
like literally every holiday we had or birthday, my parents would literally pick us Toys R Us for our birthday and let us pick out one toy. It's like one of my fondest memories as a kid, right? So I love Toys R Us. I do have a thing for Toys R Us, yeah. But that being said, when I got older and I saw the price difference between Toys R Us and other toy stores and even online when online started become popular, but they didn't give themselves an opportunity to compete because the price was so bad in most of the products in Toys R Us. But that's what I'm saying. Competition, although like it sucks for them, it was a good thing for the consumer because we got things cheaper. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
That's why
but
there's
not,
laws about it.
It's a win-win, but it can't be a win for everyone.
Well,
It's a win-win
exactly.
loss.
Someone once said this to me, and this is why, like I said, like I'm not profit driven. Someone says something to me, and it's so perfect that I love it. So, for example, with money and any resource in this world, it's all finite. It's not infinite. It's finite, right? I'm not talking about natural stuff like sunlight stuff, but like normal everyday materials, goods, money, houses, land, you name it. It's all finite, right? So if you're ever having one more of anything, it's taken from someone else. It has to be because there's a finite of everything. So money is a prime example of this. If I'm making an extra £10, £10 has been taken amongst the world somehow, some way. That's why I don't. Profit is not like obviously. Like I said we have to make profit because we're a company, but to make as much profit and become the next Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, that's not even remotely on my mind because I don't care about that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. Also, Jeff Bezos is weird. So
Every billionaire is weird.
if I had as much money as him, I'd be strange. Look at Elon Musk.
You didn't have that much money and not be weird.
No,
Elon Musk literally has so much money he doesn't have anything else to do because he's bought everything.
uh, I would say Elon Musk is weird, but at least he's a bit eccentric, so it's kind of fun to see what happens in a way. But for me, the weirdo, like if we're gonna pick a weirdo in as don't want to be rude, Mark Zuckerberg, he for me he doesn't seem like a human at all.
It's a lizard person.
Maybe he replaced himself with an android. He's just like chilling on a private island.
It's just the way he even drinks. Like I don't know if you ever watched this when he was having that. I don't know what they call it in America, but like when a business is
Yeah,
held accountable and you have to like have like a trial sort of thing, right?
never trust someone.
Deposition, yeah.
Yeah, never
But
trust someone who holds a cup with two hands who's above the age of 3.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
it's not a sippy cup.
Mate, my own daughter, she's 1 year old. She can literally hold a cup with one hand and use the straw, and she's 1 year old. Okay, albeit not perfectly, but still can do it, right? So if this guy can't drink water, how are you a human?
To be fair, did your daughter invent Facebook?
No, but I'm glad she didn't because Facebook is a con, in my opinion. But you should.
Yeah, Facebook is a con, especially if you're in the Pokemon Facebook groups, which I'm not, so I can be judging. I can be judging and say they're terrible.
So if we're gonna talk about this, because I'm happy to go here, yeah. So like, for those of people as well who don't know, like one thing I like doing as well, like because told you I like helping my friends. If any of my friends need cards, I love collecting Japanese promos, like I said. So I order quite a bit, like normally once a week, once every 2 weeks from Japan cards. And there'll be times where like mates of mine, like Mark, Cam, anyone will be like, "Hey, I want this specific card," and I'll go and find it in Japan. Obviously, I give them cost price. The only extra money I take is literally any fees that I get charged, like putting the parcel together, or like obviously when it arrives in the UK, it comes to my house, so I have to ship it to them. But other than that, I don't make profit off them. They're my friends, right? When I go on these Facebook groups and I see the price they're charging after they've imported cards from like Japan, I'm like, it's just crazy to me. and it's even worse now. Like I don't know if you want to bring this up. Do you remember when that guy was like selling dominoes, like a raffle for dominoes? Do you remember that? I saw one the other day. Someone was raffling off cigarette tobacco.
Yeah, I
I
saw
saw
that as
that one.
well.
That was
Yeah.
mad.
What kind of cesspool of like really terribly moral people are we in? And the worst thing about Facebook for me is, right, there's only something obviously I realized when I was older, is that the fact that Facebook, we gave so much information to Facebook freely is nuts to me. Like, there's no privacy when we start on Facebook. Like, I'm not judging Facebook, like everyone has their own opinion on things, but like for me, that's why I deleted my Facebook once I realized what I was doing. Like, I was giving out my location, I was checking into
Yeah.
places. Like, it was really crazy when you like deep it, when you really absorb what you're doing. Like,
If
at
you,
least with
yeah,
like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you've made it this far, my gift to you is go on your Facebook and look at all of the names of the pages you've liked, and leave all of them.
Agreed.
Because when I was younger, there was this phase of like liking a page, and some of them had names that if a future employer found, they probably wouldn't too happy that I was part of that page.
Also, which is not fair on you, but it happens. If someone has a page, let's say we start a page called Pokemon Cards for You,
Yeah, they
yeah,
can just change
and
it, can't they?
they can change the name, and if I sell it to someone, it could become literally like a Confederate loving, you know, racist group, and you've said you liked it from 10 years ago,
Yeah.
even though you didn't obviously click on that. That's why I'm glad, even though I get why people hate no edit button on Twitter, I'm glad that Twitter doesn't have an edit button. Because imagine you retweet a tweet and someone changes it to make it completely racist or offensive, and that's not what you retweeted initially.
Yeah.
So
There,
that's why I'm glad that they don't have an edit button.
I'm still looking at Evolving Skies booster boxes. They're very cheap.
I just got a
Bro,
message from him
send me the links.
saying you
Send me
didn't
the
finish
links.
your order.
It's interesting. Certain so I said Shining Phase was a disappointing set. I don't think it's a bad set. I just think the way it was executed was poor.
I think it's a bad set.
I think if you took out, and this is me not being deep, even though I do love Charizard, but if you take out Charizard from that set, it is, in my opinion, it's a very subpar set. Especially if you
I
compare
think
it
it's
to him.
subpar with Charizard.
No, it
If
is but without the Charizard, it is really bad. Especially the print quality of the shiny, baby shiny Pokemon
oh
is
yeah, no, it's
terrible.
horrible. The only card I like in the whole set really is Suicune, but
I
that's
I love
one card.
I love coughing because I love coughing.
Coughing's
You know I
great
love
card.
coughing.
To be fair, I say that the Yampa's really cute.
Yeah, oh, the one where he's like looking back at his bum, sort of like.
Yeah, and the
Posing.
Galarian Ponyta.
That's a nice card. Very, very, very what's the word? Very happy vibe, like good vibes only.
Yeah, the Galarian Ponyta was actually really expensive. It's one of the few cards that was worth more than sort of like £5 or £6 as a baby shiny.
Yeah, I think it was like £9-10.
Yeah,
I don't know now, but that was
the Japanese
before.
version is worth sort of like £10 or so still.
The
But
coughing from Shiny Star V is like one of my favorite shiny Pokemon cards ever. He's just such a happy one.
But I'm really enjoying how cheap Pokemon cards are now. So I'm on the Chaos Cards website, which is like my go-to to see how much things are. So they currently have a sale. It's like 11. It's their 11th birthday, so they have 11% off.
Jeez.
Ooh,
on
thank you.
on top of sale, right? So you can get a Brilliant Stars Elite Trainer box for £35.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. See,
Near bad.
so
Again,
talking about investments, ETBs, if we're going to be honest, like again, not a financial advisor. It's just my own personal research because I love a spreadsheet. I do, and
Love
ETBs on
spreadsheets.
average, I love spreadsheets. So ETBs on average are like the best return of investment for a
They
main product. So
outperform any
so
other
yeah,
steel product.
so if you
yeah,
have especially the main stuff, like forget about all this collection box stuff because like there's so many of them. But like if you have every set comes out, it's always a booster box, an ETB, and then some forms of blisters, normally singles and triples. They come out every set. Now we've started getting these battle stadiums too, but in general, those are the three main from like every single set since I think the first ever ETB, if I remember right, was Plasma Storm. Okay, so since then, every single set in the long run, the ETB in terms of return on investment has been much more than the booster boxes. However, ETBs are so much bigger than booster boxes. So that for me is the only thing that makes them a shit investment. Not shit, like not as good investment.
They're
because
just tougher to store.
That's the problem, and they're way more flimsy. Way
Yeah.
more flimsy. Like you can cut the seal or like damage a corner, and it loses its value so easily.
So, anyone listening to this who's got this far, if you have money to burn, do yourself a favour, go to the Pokemon Center UK
Mhm.
and buy any of the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes in any sets that you
Amen.
like. So you can still buy the Celebrations Pokemon Center box.
By the way,
Is it-
that's the worst of all the ETBs because it's the only one that isn't the same size as all the other ETBs.
But the box it comes in is by far the nicest.
For sure. On
Um,
average, in not all the time, but on average, the Pokemon Center exclusive boxes are uglier, in my opinion, than the main set ones.
with
On average.
the one exception is Darkrai, which is way
Yes.
nicer. Also, actually,
Uh,
Oh, that
the-
one is so
Mate,
cool.
the
I'm
Brilliant
gonna
Stars
send
one
you.
is nicer.
I'm gonna send you. It's funny you guys mentioned that, but I'm literally gonna send you a picture right now. Literally on my display behind me is the Pokemon Center Darkrai exclusive. Even though I don't even like Astral Radiance, but I was like, it's too nice.
I think this might be a thing that I like. So I don't tend to do a lot of investing because I do the buy and sell of things. So like, I'd rather buy something and then sell it a couple of months later. It's not for like a long term hold, but I do think that these Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs will retain a decent value. But again,
100%
like
agree.
they retain a decent value over time. So unless you have 50 quid just to like essentially give up, then
Also, unless you can store it as well.
So that's for me personally, touch wood, like I'm not amazing with my money, but I'm decent with my money. Like I don't spend, apart from Pokemon, which I'm not gonna lie, I do probably spend a bit too much Pokemon. Hopefully my wife
Yeah,
doesn't
don't
do
we
that.
all? Don't we
Yeah,
all?
literally. But like apart from Pokemon, I don't really have any other like sort of thing or hobby or like or interest that I spend a lot of money on. Like I'm not really super into my clothes or my fashion. Like obviously I like looking nice, but I don't need to buy a Louis Vuitton wallet. Like an average wallet is fine for me. It does the job. Like I'm more of a convenience and comfort than fashion or value of the fashion brand. But with Pokemon, like I do spend a bit of money. But my main issue with spending my money on the Pokemon in general, like even Stealth Collection, is storage space. And for those of you, like most people who are watching this or listening to this, like London especially is really expensive, and Essex is also very expensive. Obviously, like the further you get away from London, the cheaper it does become. But still, even so, outside of London is not cheap either. So storage space is not cheap. And I was recently looking at it because one of my close friends, I don't want to say their name just in case they don't want people to know this. They are a massive sealed collector. Like they barely buy product; they just sealed collection is their thing. Like they love sealed collection. Like looking at because he has pretty much every single ETB in existence, bar two, and having all the ETBs stacked on his cabinet in his house looks insane. But he can afford as well, to be fair, to store it. But all the excess stock he has, he needs to put it somewhere. And we were looking at getting a storage facility, like a yellow self storage or like one of them shore guards and stuff. It's so expensive to store, like get a storage unit. I don't know if you guys realize this. It's something like the cheaper ones and the crappier ones in London, for example, are still about 50, 45 pounds a week. That's a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah, like this is the
There's
thing
a lot of money.
in America because they have so much more land space. Storage is really cheap.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously it depends, right? Because if you say like Poker Rev, for example, if he stores all of his really expensive items, they will be stored in a more secure place. So they're more
He's shown them in
expensive.
his video. He showed his storage
Yeah.
facility in his video, and it's
But-
massive.
Did he?
It's like an apartment.
Yeah, but those are more expensive because they have like they have
Security.
a lot of security because he's storing like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
And even the next step up from that is that if you have like, I know there's a friend of mine, I'm not going to say who it is as well because of his safety, but he has like some old EX era booster boxes and some very expensive booster boxes, which you probably wouldn't want me to say what they are, but they're very expensive EX eras, like 40, 50 grand boxes, right? And he has a literal security deposit box that he puts it in a bank to be extra
Yeah.
secure, right? So as I'm saying, it's like this kind of stuff, having this extra a security safety deposit box. I don't even know how much that costs, but for £45 a week, just to give you the math, it's £2,340 a year. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, unless you're unless you're making that much back, which you probably won't be.
So that's what I'm saying. So like you have to, like you're talking about the quick flips and stuff. Quick flips, if you're able to dedicate even just a little bit of time to do it, it's way better than a long-term investment for sure. And even safety wise, it's much more safe to just hold things, because anything that is collectible, once it starts becoming out of print or more and more people open each of it, like that Hall of Fame thing we were talking about earlier, your Hall of Fame beautiful Thierry Henry, the more people open it, the rarer the sealed ones become. Because like you said, it was a free item, and now it's about £60 a sealed one.
Yeah.
And in the future, it'll be £100, then £200, then 300, then maybe even £1,000, because how many left of them unsealed are there? You know what I'm saying? So
the one thing that sports has that actually detracts from it is that you can quite easily keep track of cards because they're numbered.
Yeah,
that's true.
Whereas
That's
especially
what I was gonna say.
one-on-ones.
That's what I was
whereas
gonna say. If
with
you
Pokemon, with Pokemon, because the print rates are so high, they're not numbered. You could keep. I mean, you could have like a case of Evolving Skies, and there'd be nothing good in it, or you could have a case of Evolving Skies that's got like 4 Umbreons and 2 Rayquazas in it.
and then you're laughing.
But
Yeah,
that helps that helps the value because it is truly random.
That is true. I completely agree, because I remember you guys were talking about it. Do you remember? I think it was Castro who pulled one of those boxes that was worth a lot, and he pulled the
Oh,
1 of 1 Ronaldo or something, and
Yeah.
then now the price of that box has dropped significantly, because
Yep.
you know it doesn't exist anymore. It's not in any of the sealed boxes anymore.
The craziest example is, so WWE Prism was released,
Ah.
and when it got released, everyone was excited for it because it was second year Prism, but it was the first year it was like properly good. So people started opening it, and the autos were awful. Like, there's so many wrestlers who you've never heard of. Like, I keep up with wrestling, right? There were people in that box that I'd never even. They were like people who were on like the UK developmental.
I was gonna say, is
brand.
this like the reserve team sort of
Yeah.
thing?
So like, you can pull like you can get like a The Rock auto, but
That's pretty sick.
the chances are you will pull someone who you've never heard of. And yeah, they made so many boxes that they were terrible. But they suffered from the problem. It's like, as soon as someone pulls out the Stone Cold Steve Austin 1 of 1, prices of the boxes go down because you can't pull that anymore.
Yeah,
because
that's a definite finite
Yeah.
amount, because you know the amount. So once there's 5 floating around, you know they've all gone, for example.
And because of like the generally what happens now is breakers who break on Whatnot or Twitch or Instagram or whatever, they get so much product so quickly that they can single-handedly crash the market or massively boost prices. So like it was like did you ever see on Whatnot they were chasing the triple LeBron James logo man card?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of a bad example for pricing because they were all bought by Whatnot and given away for free. But say you were, say they weren't free, say people were bidding on them and Whatnot, for example, the price keeps going up and up and up and up. Actually, a good example is when you see like Japanese box breaks on Bits, right? Use Bits, it's great. Go follow
I love
Karim.
it. Thank you.
When you're doing a Japanese box break, every pack that you open that doesn't have the secret rare makes each pack subsequently slightly more expensive.
Well, if you open it one by one, I don't. But
Yeah.
if you did it one by one,
If you do it one
it's
by
also
one,
it's also the reverse, because if the first one has the secret rare in,
yeah.
the chances are you don't have any more in the box, so then the packs subsequently become cheaper. So yeah.
So this is why you and other people quite rightly and smartly sell each pack before you open it. You sell every pack and then you open the box.
I also think it's the fairest way.
It is the fairest way.
Because if you've opened the first pack, right? Let's say you opened the first 3 packs, right? And you didn't get it, and then the 4 packs the SR. The 3 packs before it, you had a much lower odd of getting the SR than the 4th pack. And every pack after that, the odds, like the last box break you're talking about, that there's 20 packs in that box. The second to last pack had the SR. So imagine 18 people were paying for the 19th or 20th person to have a 50% chance. And if the last pack was the SR, then literally everyone has been feeding, and for a person to get 100%. So then on the 20th pack, what would the price have been? It could have gone to like stupid money
Yeah.
because you
Because
you know that the
it's
SRs. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
But
I
this is the thing for me with bits that I think is really really exciting is because it is gambling in its truest form if you do it that way, but you don't have to do it that way. So I like the fact that you get the freedom. It's like I don't get me wrong, I don't like the whole I don't really gamble. Like I don't do raffles, I don't do anything like that. Like if you want to do them, cool. It's not for me. I just don't care. Like I don't enter them, I don't run them. But it's neither here nor there. But on bits, you can do that kind of thing. Like whatnot is the same because whatnot and bits are very, very much the same. There's some like subtle differences, but they're not really that big. Like the concept is the same. But yeah, so like you can do that, and I've seen people do sports breaks like that where you will open like a case, and people will bid on a box. They open it, and then if the case hit doesn't get hit, the next box becomes more expensive.
I was gonna say, is there a case hit in sports?
Yeah, generally most things have case hits.
That makes sense. I was going to ask you something. So this because I don't know sports that much. Like you're more of a sports guy, and you and Cam. If you then wouldn't it be smart? This is where market manipulation can really kick in sports. If you had a set where there's a 1 of 1 Ronaldo everyone's chasing, right, and you pull it, and you know that you have more boxes, or like you know that the value of the boxes are going to keep going up over time, couldn't you just be hypothetically cheeky, keep the 1 of 1 Ronaldo, not tell anyone you have it, let the boxes appreciate ridiculously, sell all your boxes, and then say, right, I pulled the 1 of 1 Ronaldo,
Yes.
and then you crash the market.
You
That's
could.
no, I'm not saying people do that because I know most people they get gas and they take
People
pictures of
do
it and
that.
put it on Instagram. I
People
believe they do.
100% do that.
People
that's
do
what
it.
I'm saying.
People do it short term, where this is why live breaking kind of in a way like fair like evens the market
Makes it
because
fair.
like
Yeah, I was gonna say because you can't
because
hide a live. Once it's on
because
the internet, it's on the
yeah.
internet.
Also, even if you stream like opening a box and like 3 people watch it, eventually everyone's going to find out that you pulled the 1 of 1 Ronaldo or
Someone would,
whatever.
especially if it's yours. If you
Yeah,
bought a box and it was your card, which should be coming to you, you're gonna definitely take screenshots and stuff and post it. Especially for your
yeah.
own safety, because in case that breaker decides not to send you that card for whatever reason, because some people are unfortunately scummy like that.
But
Yeah.
this happened like back in the day, right? So 1 of 1s numbered cards have existed for like what 20 what's that 90s like 30 years or so. When you go back
Yep.
to some of the older boxes, right, there is no way to keep track of what's been pulled because
Internet didn't exist really.
there's no internet, there's no technology, no one was keeping track because the cards weren't worth as much. So like it's when you have like Michael Jordan, his rookies weren't numbered, but you have like Michael Jordan numbered cards from like the late 90s, early 2000s. There is almost no way of knowing how many have been pulled and how many haven't been pulled. Because
It's even worse if the number isn't unique. Like if it still says /100, like it doesn't say a 1 before
Yeah.
it or a 23, because then which one of that and how many is that? Because you can see the same card repeated over and over and over again online. You don't even know if that's a different card, if that makes sense.
to be fair, I think almost every single one is. So that's what the serial number is. So when you get a serial numbered card, it means as in it is numbered something out of something.
Ah,
There's very
see,
few. There's very
I'm
few
not a sports
cards that.
guy, but I fell in love recently with Paddy the Baddie from USC. I'm not a big
Yeah.
UFC guy, but he did one speech literally a few days ago when he won his fight, and after
Moving.
that I was like, you know what, this guy, I want to have some of his stuff, his memorabilia, because I love this kind of mentality. He was talking about, without going too deep into it, because it is late now for everyone, but he was talking about like the stigma with men like opening up when they're like feeling a bit low, because one of his mates unfortunately committed suicide, sadly, may rest in peace. And he was saying that like just talk, like there's a stigma amongst men that we don't want to open up, we'd rather keep to ourselves and then commit suicide. He was like, we should all just talk. Like he said, I'd rather have my mate cry on my shoulder than go to his funeral. And I 100% wholeheartedly agree with that. As soon as he said that, I was like, you know what, I need something of his, because I love this kind of person, this kind of, he doesn't have to say that. He doesn't have to, he could have talked about his achievement of he just won a fight. His first thing was to talk about something so important to this world and to half the population, which are men, to just have the stigma be removed, right? especially from someone who most young boys and UFC fighters and people who like UFC and men in general who are watching the sport will listen to that, and hopefully, because they respect him and appreciate what he says, will hopefully listen. And even if it reduces stigma by like 0.01%, it's better than nothing, right? So I wanted to buy some of these cards, as I was saying. And one of the cards I was going to buy, it just said one of 9,068. And there was 3 of them, and they were all one of 9,068. So that's what I'm saying. Are you sure all cards have like a different unique number?
I mean, not all do,
Oh, okay,
because but modern cards, yeah.
fair enough. So like, I don't want to say it's Rue, but like valuable cards, they will normally have a unique number, like your Thierry, for example.
Yeah, the lower number the card is, the more
Yeah.
valuable it is generally.
That logically, yeah, it makes sense.
Even then, like, even if it's like you'd think that out of 50 is like relatively low numbered, it's just not. It's just not got the value behind it, and that's what
No.
baffles me with sports.
No, that
It
really does.
entirely-
Even
It entirely depends on the player. Like,
Yeah, but even then, like, it's
Yeah, but-
still not as expensive as I would anticipate.
a prime example of that is, so I'm a Chelsea fan. Who those of you listening, I love Lampard. Who most people do. Yeah, the Lampard from that same box that Mark got his Thierry from. If you look at the /99 of that, it's only about a 25 pound card, right? There's only 100 of them, or 99 of them. Sorry, there's only 99 of them, and there's in the whole world, not just in England, the whole world. So it's crazy, but it's mad because the counter can happen. So like how we know, like, oh, if there's a limited amount and no one's pulled it, it can be more valuable. But the opposite can happen, because you remember that, like, the gold stars, because a lot of our mates collect gold stars.
Yeah.
The gold stars. Do you remember when that guy uploaded a video of him having a folder of every single one of the legendary beasts, like a whole binder of Gold Star Suicune, a whole binder of Gold Star Raikou and NT and so forth.
Yeah,
He
the world's-
single-handedly ruined the value of those cards.
That
Like
was
the cheapest
because
Gold Stars.
Yeah, he
that's
stole
because
it.
they were all stolen. They
Yeah.
were stolen from the factory.
No, I know that
It's
they were
the
stolen.
world's,
But
the
Yeah.
world's most public declaration of guilt I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look what I stole, guys.
And
Yeah.
forget that he even stole it. The point is that, like, we know how
Oh, yeah.
many there are now technically exists. If he drip feeds them to the market, which he probably did, right?
He did for a while. He genuinely did for a while.
But that's my point. So, like, if you go on PSA, which I'm not bothered to do it right this second because we're talking, but if you go on the population report, because I looked at this with Josh, PSA Pimp, recently. If you look at the population of gold stars, the difference between the legendary beasts and every other one is stupid. Like, it's like, let's say there's hypothetically 800. No, there's literally gold star Mewtwo. There's only in PSA 9, for example, 180 roughly. I think it's gone up recently. But if you compare it to Suicune in a PSA 9 or an Entei in a PSA 9 or Raikou in a PSA 9, it's like 4,000, 3,000 in a PSA 9. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost tenfold. But that's my point. That's why it's lost value. So I'm saying it can work the negative. But that's why I think Pokemon has that safe investment, because, like you said, there's no specific amount. Who knows what one day they might take a leaf out of other companies' books and do alternate arts that are limited, like Akura recently did and a few other TCGs are doing. I hope Pokemon doesn't ever do that, because
I think they will.
They never.
I hope they don't.
They never will.
And I
Because it's a
hope they never will.
TCG before it is a CCG.
The
The reason why
the
I
only-
hope they never do it is because Pokemon card singles, especially for a desirable card and a rare card, is already so expensive. I do not want to be having to, because I will be out of the hobby if it is this case. It's complete a
Yeah.
set. I need a card that is a 1 of 100, and it costs like $3,000. It's for me, like, I have a limit of what I will put into money for a set that I want to complete, and most people will be cashed out at that point. Like, it's too expensive. That's why I'm saying these bloated sets in English are so bad, because it's making a lot of people no longer be able to do their phrase of "got to catch them all" or "got to collect them all." You can't. It's too expensive.
The thing is, they dropped that years ago.
No, 100%. They dropped that
Hello?
100% years ago.
Della?
Mate,
No,
when the sets stop being around about 100, give or take 100, like Japanese was similar, about 100. Like the most recent set from Japan, which is Lust Abyss, which I opened a couple of booster boxes with my wife. The set is not including secret rares, sorry, is 100 cards, right? 102 to be, 100 cards exactly, actually. So 100 cards is not a small amount, but it's within reason, right? The last set we had, which I collected, which was Brilliant Stars, I'm pretty sure the set number was over 100, over 200, from what I remember. So
Brilliant start.
yeah, Brilliant Stars.
Yeah.
And then when you add in the
Wow.
secret rares, it doesn't even fit. If you add in the reverses and the secret rares, it doesn't even fit in a 3-pocket or 3v3 9-pocket binder.
No, I had to
Every
get a
single
full
card.
pocket.
But that's my point. So like, if the sets are becoming like this, and bear in mind, all three of us are adults, so we have more disposable income than the kid or teenage collector, right? How can these kids and teenage collectors be able to complete a set? And if you can't complete a set, because most people, not everyone, but most people like the idea of a complete set. It's like it's a thing that just doesn't just run in Pokemon. It runs in most things. Most people who collect things want every one of a certain thing, right? If you can't afford to do it, you're just gonna kill the audience. That's partly why I didn't complete this. For example, as a prime example, me, I didn't go for the master set of Astral Radiance because I was like, it's too expensive. There's too many secret rares. No thanks.
So
Like,
yeah, Pokemon will never do actually numbered cards, but they only have cards that have like enforced rarity. But
yeah,
because they
like
don't
it's the secret, like the
like
alt arts basically.
yeah, or like it'll be an event where it'll be like an event card, so like you have to physically attend an event, but
Oh yeah, like yeah,
they'll
like the
never
trophy
release
cards.
yeah like trophy cards. You know how many there are. You can just work out how many there are, right?
Yeah, true.
Especially modern trophy cards, you can quite easily because
100%.
they're handed out to certain people at certain times, but they'll never tell you how many there are. An interesting thing that happens is, especially tops do this, right? So there's a new set called Project 22, which is tops are releasing basically cards made by artists of certain players.
That's pretty cool.
And what they do is they print to order. So
Tops now.
yeah, so it is like tops now, but it's a similar format, but it's slightly different.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
so they print to order. So basically, they open for a week. You can buy them, and after a week, they close it. They print however many they've sold, and they send them out. A couple of weeks later. So I've been buying them because I think they're really cool. So in the first release, they had a Jude Bellingham card, and in each set there is it's because it's Project 22. There's 22 cards numbered to 22, 10 to 10, and a 1 of 1. And they also have artist signed cards. I don't know how many of those there are. They sold 175 Bellinghams in a week.
Wow.
And I bought one. I have a 1 in 5 chance of it being numbered.
Did you open it?
I haven't got it yet.
Oh, I thought. Sorry, I thought you had already.
No. So I've essentially a 1 in 5 chance of them being numbered. They also released a Ronaldo. Apparently they sold 2,000 copies of Ronaldo. And a Messi, and there's like, I think it's like 1,800 copies of Messi. But the fact that I have a 1 in 5 chance of getting a numbered or signed Bellingham is pretty mad. And like, I know that it's a retrospective numbering system. So like, I know the print run. So like, if anyone in
Even
the
if it's
future,
not numbered, you still know the print run.
yeah, like I know it's out of 175 because they never print them again.
Well, it's like the Panini box that I told you about, the Hall of Fame. Again, quoting back to the TRMV, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It says on the Panini website, we made 1,000 of these. There's 1,000 of them in existence. So like we said already, the base cards that are not even numbered, there's less than 1,000 of them.
But
For sure.
875.
but the thing is with that, you know beforehand how many they made.
Oh, that's true. No,
with the
that's
other
true.
one, it's like reverse. So like I bought it not knowing how many there'd be. But now I've
No, that's
bought
fair.
it. But now I've bought it, I know how many there are. So
Well, I don't think Pokemon in the UK would ever do that because I don't think that would work in their whole mass producing and sailing way. But in Japan,
Promos.
but
I
in
don't-
Japan they do
yeah.
that. I don't know if you know that they do made to order products for Pokemon. So they have the new, which is the equivalent of RUPC. It's called the Ultimate Collection box thing. It's coming out they're going to start printing in September, I believe. And this is a made to order item. So there was no like, I hope I get one. If you put an order in, you get it. But one per account, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another thing exactly like that. Whatever the amount they sell, that's going to be the amount there is. And I know a lot of people who are not buying it because they're like, oh yeah, but if it's made to order, it doesn't have a rarity in it. But that might be a hindrance to itself. Not hindrance. It might be a benefit to itself because when people think things aren't rare, that can actually make it rare because no one has it.
This is the thing, right? I think with the Project 22 is like people just were like, oh well, if it's printed to order, then it's fine. But they sell them individually. They're £12 each, or you can buy the set 5 and it's 50, so they're a tenner each. I was like, the cards are cool, right? If anyone has made it this far and wants to see them, they're on the Topps website still.
Yeah,
But
please
yeah,
link me. I actually want to see these. If there's
I
any
will
cool
do.
Chelsea players, I might buy.
Just drop the link.
There hasn't been so far, but so
There's a Neymar on that looks weird. The Harry Kane looks quite nice.
I quite like the Neymar, but yeah. So the first week was like Messi, Ronaldo, Bellingham, Pedri, and it was Gavi and someone else. And then this week it's Vlahovic, Makoko, Neymar, Harry Kane, and Anthony. And then in one day and 17 hours, they'll release the next lot. And there's 22 of them. But I just think it's cool, especially because they have such short print runs. I think having a full set. I mean, because there's only 175 Bellinghams, there can't be any more than 175 full sets in the world.
Mm.
And I just think that's kind of cool because, like, I now have if I buy them all, which I will, I know I have a full numbered set, and there physically can't be any more than 175 sets in the world.
I was just looking at the website, and just seeing like what you're saying, and honestly, every single one of these cards looks like an alternate art, but like Pokemon version, ultimate art basically of sports card. Also, do they come in this case that they're showcasing?
Every card comes magged.
That honestly,
That's cool.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I might, even though I'm not a big Tottenham fan, the Harry Kane is shouting at me because 17 is my lucky number, and it's literally called Harry Kane by 17th.
Yeah, and there's a chance you'll get it numbered.
It's true.
Like, so
I'm interested in a Makoko.
It's like I bought them, not because I thought I might get a numbered one, just because I like them. But yeah, I thought they were pretty cool.
I do that with Topps now for Formula One.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they do numbered versions of them now. They don't do it for all of them. But I like to buy two. So I get one for my collection and one I try to chance me arm and getting numbered.
That's very smart.
Just in case.
The thing with these, right, is like I'm buying a full set. The chances are I have a decent chance of getting at least one of them numbered.
Mm.
I mean, I would say yeah. I would say that makes sense. Also, the price of the shipping is, I don't know how they get this good price because no company charges much. £1.50 shipping. That's basically free.
If you spend 50, if you spend 50 quid or more, it's free. So every time I buy the bundle of 5, it's just free.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, good shout.
You're doing that every time, the bundle of 5.
Yeah, I just like because
it makes sense.
I just think like £220 is obviously quite a lot, but like that's like a booster box and a 1 3/4 booster box is a card. So
that's what I was gonna say. It's not even 2 booster boxes in Pokemon.
It's based. No, every week they release them.
I was gonna say 220 quid a month.
Yeah, so like, I think they're only going to release Project 22 once. So they did a similar thing. They did Project 75 for the 75th anniversary of the MLB like baseball league. And then this season they've done Project 100 for baseball again.
Yo, I've just seen that Bellingham art. That is sick.
So yeah.
Is that from last week?
Yeah, they're 20 quid each on eBay. The ones that are available this week are 20 quid as well.
You see, the price already gone up. So imagine you can buy it for £12, sell it for 20, and you're still making profit, even if it's like £3-4 profit.
Well, I bought them for 10.
Yeah, so you're laughing even more.
So if I have a full set and it sells for 20 quid each, a card it's 440, so I've doubled my money. This is why I.
That's if it's not numbered as well.
This is the thing. I think if you have even if I go to like a card show and I have a full set, like someone's probably going to pay me like 400 quid for it.
You know what, Mark? Anyone who's listening to this is why you should listen to the whole podcast, because Mark is literally giving me and Cam and anyone who's listening good investment advice, but he's not a financial advisor, so you do it at your own risk.
Granted, I've just spent a ton of money.
Yeah,
but
the thing is, right, I don't even think it's advice. I'm just telling you why I do things. Like, if you want to listen, that's cool. But like, if not, then you don't have to agree with me. I think Evolving Skies is a good investment. I think Project 22 is a good investment. But if you would rather go out there, say for example, you like the new Weiss Schwarz Toy Story set. Go buy that. You know, I think
I think
that's.
Vice Shorts has more
I think.
legs than
I think.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I have nothing against that company or franchise or whatever you want to call it, but for me, it's just like I said, I'm a completionist set guy, and for me,
Yeah.
I don't really get the sets. Like I no judgment to them. Like I'm not saying anything bad about the cards, just don't get the sets. Like I looked at the Toy Story one because Toy Story is like one of my favorite childhood movies, and I was like, I don't see where the value in this is. Like no judgment, like I said.
I like Vice Schwartz. Just don't open it. If you want it for an
What?
investment, just keep it sealed. It's not worth opening it. You might hit a crazy secret rare, but you probably won't.
That's true.
Until recently, they'd never reprinted a set. And then about a month ago, because talking to Brock Stonks, love that dude. Totally weird man, but love him. And they released,
Wow.
I mean, get the chance to talk to him. Bless him.
No,
Um,
I think I've spoken to him actually.
yeah, he's been in the Discord a couple of times, but they've announced a reprint of some Attack on Titan sets and a 2016 Star Wars set, and it just crashed that market, like crashed it before you even saw what the cards looked like.
Same happened with Pokemon, didn't it? When the first
Yeah,
time they reprinted Roaring Skies,
Roaring Skies, yeah, because of the
people
Shaman.
people were like, yeah, they could reprint anything now, and
Uh-huh.
it killed investing for about a year or two, and then the
Well,
boom happened.
Well, they weren't wrong because Cosmic Eclipse was going to come out, and the prices of that was already tanking. And then as soon as it was cancelled, straight back up.
Yeah,
Yep, I was so ready for that to go down.
Thing is, it depends on the overall production of it as well. Because, for example, what I mean is like Evolving Skies. If tomorrow morning they did a reprint and they did a stupid reprint where like shops literally couldn't get rid of the stock, like for example, Battle Styles and uh, Darkness Ablaze for a period when that was in stores and no one could sell booster boxes, even though it was like out of stock for a while. Um, if it happens like that, then fair enough, it will tank the value. But for things like, for example, for those of you who don't know, if EV Heroes is having a reprint in September, a lot of the
Mhm.
pre-orders have already been sold out. Like I know friends of mine who bought cases and they're completely sold out in Japan pretty much already. It hasn't even come out yet. But my point is that I don't think that's going to tank the value because the reprint is so low in general that yeah, okay, the price might dip, but I don't think it's going to fully tank. And a prime example of that is another set, which is my all-time favorite Japanese set, which is Tag Team GX All Stars.
Great
It
set.
was the first Japanese set that I ever opened, and the first Japanese set I ever decided to master set, and it's the first Japanese set that I probably should not have even started collecting because there's so many secret rares in that set. Anyways, separate issue. That set when I was buying it, and I remember when they did the reprint, I was buying it from Japan Plaza, Macari, and a few other sites. Literally £55 a box. Yeah, I never forget this day. One day on Poke Guardian and Poke Beach, they announced that the Pokemon Japan officially announced that they stopped printing this set. The price went to £100 instantly. Like I went to eBay straight away, over £100 every booster box. Now it's stuck at around about 130-ish, 120, but still, you see what I'm saying about like the print,
I
the
have a box in
reprint.
my seal collection. It's great.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and that's what I'm saying. So, like, if we're talking about good investment advice, or like my opinion of what I would invest in if I had money, I would buy EV Hero boxes because the alt arts in that. If you think Evolving Skies alt arts are stupid money, take a look at EV Heroes, which is an even smaller set, and there's a lot of secret rares considering this card set. By the way, is 69 cards, and if I remember right, I think there's 31 secret rares, which is almost half of the population is that.
yeah, it's mad.
Um, but yeah, so the secret rares, just to give you a quick, like, I'm not going to go through all of them because obviously there's a lot. 31 secret rares is a lot. But of all the main alt arts, they shit on the value of the Evolving Skies version. Like, I mean, literally take the piss. Like, you'd think
Yeah,
Evolving Skies is cheap, and Evolving Skies is not cheap.
it's
Yeah,
because
so I'll give it.
you only get one a box, right?
Yeah, maximum two a box, and I've opened up. I can't tell you exactly how many because I probably don't want to say, and I can't think off the top of my head. But um, the amount of boxes I've opened, I would say has to be at least, I would say has to be at least overall 60 to 100 Japanese booster boxes among all the sets. Okay, I've never got a double hit box, so they're not common at all, right? So one SR per box, right? So I'm on for example like a very well known Japanese card website. Okay, the Japanese reaching for the moon, which is the Umbreon VMAX Alt Art. Okay, this is a raw copy. A raw copy, bear in mind, yeah. So not graded. A raw copy is going for over 100,000 yen, which for those of you who don't know what yen is, that's approximately £700. 730 if you want to be exact.
Quite a
Okay.
lot.
So the booster box, if you buy it off
Yeah.
off eBay right now, you can get it for about 130. So if you pull this card, if you pull it, which is possible, you're going to make
six times.
approximately £600 profit on that box. Well, technically you're getting your cost back, but still the non-cost side of it, you're getting £600 profit. That's one of the cards. Now I know you're saying, oh yeah, but that can be with every set. One card is expensive, blah blah blah. Okay, pick another card. Sylveon VMAX OR is 73,000 yen. Okay, raw. That's £450. Leafeon VMAX OR is 45,000 yen. That's £277. Again, raw.
Isn't
The
that card in
Umbreon
English like 35 quid?
the Leafeon VMAX is I think about £60 last time I checked. I don't know now, but I haven't checked recently.
That's
But
mad.
I'll give you an English version. So there's an Umbreon V Alt Art, which is the last card I need for Evolving Skies, which keeps evading me because it's hard to find a good centering one. That one goes for about £80 in England, okay? Like for Evolving Size one. The Japanese equivalent is £130. So
You
okay, I
can
know it's only £50, but it's basically 50 to 100% markup on every card in the Japanese set. And bear in mind, £120, £130 per booster box is still cheaper than Evolving Skies. That's
the
why I personally think EV Heroes is a good thing to put your money in if you have the spare capital. But again, I'm not a financial advisor.
the Umbreon VMAX, you can buy the English version in a 10 for less than you can buy the Japanese one raw.
And look at the
And when I say less, I don't mean a bit less. I mean £300 less.
okay.
So isn't the SP on VMAX Alt Art in Japanese the promo that came with the box?
Yeah.
That one is that's the Espeon VMAX that was in what was it called? Fusion Strike here? Yeah, Fusion Strike. That one is just over £100 as well now, and that was a freebie in a collection box before,
Mhm.
which is nuts.
It's one of the
Absolutely
few
nuts.
collection boxes that I haven't got from Sword and Shield in Japanese.
Same for me. And I
Still got
remember
a
when
couple.
someone was selling them. I remember a close friend of mine who owns like a Japanese store called Kawaii TCG, very nice guy. He was selling them for about £180, and I was like, oh, £180 for 2 booster boxes and some additional stuff and a promo
I know,
card.
I wish
The
I
lot
snapped that up, man.
Mate, it's over. I think the last one I saw was being sold on eBay was £350. It's doubled in under. Actually, no, is it over a year?
It's
It's
still
doubled in about a
tempting.
year. Yeah, 100%. And it's
Still
still
tempting at
tempting.
that price.
Exactly. Right. So
Mhm.
just to let you guys know, the PSA 10 version of that card, the Umbreon VMAX OR, which bear in mind in Raw was 730. The cheapest one on eBay right now, like the cheapest, and it's from Japan, so you have to pay import charges too, is 1.1k in a PSA 10.
In my head, I thought you were going to say 1.1 million, and I don't know why.
No, no.
I
Imagine.
1.1 million yen.
And by the way, the last one that sold, because obviously sold is more important than price, because what you put your price as doesn't necessarily dictate the value, as we all know. VAT registered companies, I'm sure I'm talking to you. If you look at eBay, so the last PSA 10 sold of the Umbreon VMAX OR was sold for 1,400 US dollars, which is, I mean, it's more now because obviously the pound is weak. 1,150 pounds. So that's a sold value. So
Crazy.
it's crazy. And grading fees, those are like if you take away £50 grading fees if you do economy. If you do even let's say you do regular, £90 grading fees plus the booster box of £130. So you're paying about 220, argument's sake, 250 all in, yeah. You can potentially make £750, £850 profit. And that's now. So imagine in the future when the boxes are out of print 100%. Because Japan, by the way, once something's out of print, as far as I'm aware, you can find out if I'm wrong. When Japan officially announced something's out of print, I've never heard of it coming back being reprinted. As
The
far as
thing
I'm
is,
aware.
you'll probably open the box and get a full art trainer that's worth £8.
Talking about that, I'm glad you said that. So I actually own one of these, which I'm sure you guys know in the Discord. Okay. I watched a video which is by a YouTuber that I like watching because he's kind of funny and he's quite right most of the time. It's called OKJ Love. I don't know if you guys know him.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
So he made a video which was the day after it hit £700, the price of that Umbreon in Japan, and he made a video basically taking a mic saying, "When you guys are all collecting Evolving Skies, I told you get EV Heroes, and look at the price of the old arts now. Ha 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 ha! You're never gonna own one. Look how beautiful it is, and it is a bit more beautiful than the Evolving Skies version because of the texturing. But the back, I personally prefer English backs, but each of their own. And he was saying like, oh, you're never gonna own one. Look how expensive it is now. It's gonna hit a grand soon. La 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 la." He literally took the piss, and I had two sealed ones for my like sealed collection. I have a small sealed collection, not that big, but I had because I like the box, so nice, all the evolutions. And I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna open one because it's worth the risk. And I bought it at retail for about £70. I was like, it's not that bad. Well, not retail UK price. So I was like, all right, I'll open one. And something in my heart told me that this box had it. Second pack in it had it. I would never sell that card though, just because of the memory of me literally I was literally upset. I was a bit triggered. I was like, you know what, he's right. I'll never own that card. Because like £700 for a card is a lot of money.
That's
A raw card, not even graded.
a
Raw
raw
card.
modern card as well.
Yeah, and especially if you're going to order it from Japan, imagine it comes and is damaged. £700 down the toilet, so no thanks. But yeah, I literally own that. I don't know if it's going to get a PSA 10 though, because it's a bit off-centered, but I'm not complaining.
Crazy. Right. Well,
Grace girl.
I am. I'm going to call it there because as of recording, it's 1:05, and I have work in 10 hours.
I have
No problem,
work
bro.
in 8 hours.
We
Nice.
have been recording for 2 hours and 53 minutes.
I
Damn.
believe it only
Yeah.
because I'm amongst two of my favorite people, so I believe it.
I'm glad I convinced you both to buy Project 22 cards from Tops.
Well, all I'm going to say is if I ever become a millionaire from selling the tops in the future, you will definitely be getting a huge chunk of that. Let's put it that way.
I actually
Yeah,
got
1% cutback.
a free Project 22 shirt when I went to the London card show.
Good job.
That's pretty sick, you know?
When
they
is
were
the next card show?
I haven't announced it yet. The next one is Cardiff, I believe, which is in September.
I love Cardiff.
Actually, no, the next one is Glasgow, I think.
Never been Glasgow.
But
Sure.
yeah, I'm not going to that one. And then there's the Cardiff card show, and then Cardiff are doing a Christmas card show, which is in December. There's also the North West card show, which again I won't be going to that because it's just so hard to get to from here.
Where is it?
It's not even about the hardness. It's the price of traveling in the UK is so expensive, like trains and stuff.
Yeah, like to be fair, for me, like to get from Nottingham, well, actually, my local train station is Beeston. Beeston to Cardiff is direct.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
What? That's
So-
mad.
3.5 hours though.
Still direct though.
But
Yeah, so
you'd probably have to stay the night there, though. To be honest, like I mean, you could do there and
Yeah.
back, but it's kind of like tight.
my initial plan was to go with my girlfriend, stay, go to the card
And
show,
then-
and then spend the weekend in Cardiff.
The weekend. Oh, that'd be
That's a good
lovely.
idea. Have you ever been to Cardiff?
I have. I went there to watch the football.
Such
When
a nice place. I love
It was
that.
when Wembley was the new Wembley was being built. They had the FA Cup semi-finals and finals at Millennium Stadium, so I went for that.
It's a nice stadium.
It is. I liked the bit of Cardiff I saw. I did like.
So I don't know if you've been Cam as well to Cardiff or like in general Wales, but Welsh people, I'm sure Mark will agree, are some of the most hospitable people you will ever meet in your life.
That's true.
They're so friendly. Like, I mean, the kind of people that like if you're in a shop and you can afford something, they'd probably give you the extra money just so you can buy it. They're that kind of people. So nice.
I
Yeah.
think
It's
I've been
fun.
once when I was like a teenager.
Also, the language is mad to me because it's so far from English.
It's so consonant heavy.
I respect it. I respect it. No judgment. Each language is unique, but it's crazy to me that English and Welsh is so far apart. Like it's not even similar at all.
So,
Yeah.
both of you, where can people find you on social media?
Go ahead, Cam.
I don't post much, but if you ever wanted to chat, at Card Collector Cam on Instagram, and I think that's about where I am. I don't have Twitter or anything like that. Yeah.
I recommend following.
Thank you.
Go on, Karim, drop your long list of links.
So I have a bunch of links, but I'll try and be quick. So of course follow our company, me and Cam's company, called Trust.Grading on Instagram. That's for our company, but for me personally, it's my username, which is Crimsnarl, which is a play on the word Grimsnarl and my name Karim, which is spelled Karimsnarl. And I used to post regularly, but I post irregularly there because I'm focusing so much on trust. But yeah,
Yeah, I'll, as always, put all the links down below.
Oh,
If you
don't
want to,
forget your bits. Your bits.
yeah,
make
the
sure
bits
to
account.
subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. Oh, my bits account. I don't even know I think I'm called Crimsnarl on bits account as
I
well.
think
I
you
think you
asked
are, yeah.
before.
There wasn't a following option before, so I forgot that they've added that recently.
Yeah, doing Japanese box breaks and selling off some cool stuff. So go.
I would
Yeah, they're
love
good
to
fun.
I would love to do a box break of Lost Abyss, but I don't know if you know, this is like the most sold out recent modern set in Japanese history. It's
Yeah.
sold out everywhere because of the Giratina or art. Because that's
She's an
brand
ugly
new,
art.
mate. It's brand new. It just got released and it's already at £250. Imagine, and it just came out.
It's ugly.
Yeah,
I like
it's
I
quite
like the
busy, but I don't mind it.
So
Meh.
that's exactly what I said. I like Giratina itself on the card. Like I think the stance and the design of it is nice, but the background is just too messy that it takes away from the Pokemon, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I would say that's more of a poster than a Pokemon card, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's too much going on in such a small amount of space.
Agreed.
But yeah, if you made it this far, congrats. Because I almost didn't make it this far. I'm very
I
proud.
was struggling for the last 40 minutes.
But yeah, thanks for joining us for this.
Make sure to subscribe, like.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I'll see you all soon. I have provisionally another 5 guests lined up. So
Ew.
podcast is not dead, and neither am I. So goodbye, everyone.
Praise the Lord.
Live on.